Sitting Bull was not just a war leader, he was a spiritual guide, a man whose authority came from visions, conviction, and the unshakable trust of his people. In a time when the United States was relentlessly expanding westward, he became the most powerful symbol of Lakota resistance. His story leads to one of the greatest defeats ever suffered by the United States Army and ends years later in a quiet, tragic act of violence that reveals the deep contradictions of that era. Before we continue, take a moment to subscribe to the channel, leave a like and share your thoughts in the comments about this story. Your support helps keep this kind of content alive. During the 1870s, pressure on the native nations of the Great Plains reached its breaking point. Gold had been discovered in the Black Hills, a region sacred to the Lakota, and almost immediately the treaties that were supposed to protect those lands were ignored. Miners arrived, soldiers followed, and the federal government demanded that all native groups move into reservations. Sitting Bull refused. To him, leaving the Black Hills meant losing far more than land. It meant the destruction of his people's way of life. Not long before the decisive confrontation, Sitting Bull took part in a sacred ceremony. Witnesses later said he experienced a powerful vision. In it, soldiers were falling from the sky upside down, like dead grasshoppers. Among the Lakota, this was understood as a clear sign that the enemy would be defeated. Word of the vision spread quickly, strengthening morale and drawing together thousands of Lakota, Cheyenne, and Arapaho warriors into one massive encampment near the Little Bighorn River. The man sent to confront them was General George Armstrong Custer. Confident to the point of arrogance, Custer believed he was facing a small, scattered group. In June of 1876, he chose to attack immediately, dividing his forces and advancing without waiting for reinforcements. It was a decision that would seal his fate. Instead of a weak camp, he encountered one of the largest gatherings of native warriors ever assembled on the plains. The battle unfolded with shocking speed. Custer's troops were surrounded and overwhelmed. The fighting was fierce and chaotic, but the outcome was absolute. Custer and every soldier under his direct command were killed. For native peoples, it was a moment of triumph and survival. For the United States government, it was a humiliating shock. Never before had a force led by a famous general been so completely destroyed in open combat. Yet Sitting Bull understood that this victory came at a terrible cost. The defeat at Little Bighorn triggered a massive retaliation. Troops flooded the region, hunting down native bands and cutting off food supplies. Resistance became nearly impossible to sustain. Years later, weakened by hunger and constant pressure, Sitting Bull fled north into Canada. Eventually, with no real alternatives left, he returned to the United States and was forced to live on a reservation under constant surveillance. Even in captivity, his influence terrified government officials. They feared that his presence alone could inspire rebellion. In the year 1890, police officers who were themselves Native Americans but served the federal government were sent to arrest him. Tensions escalated quickly. Shots were fired, and Sitting Bull was killed during the struggle. His death carried a bitter irony. The man who had defeated one of the most famous generals in American history was ultimately killed by members of his own people, compelled to enforce the authority of the very system that had destroyed their freedom. Sitting Bull's story is not only about a battle, it is about resistance, betrayal, and the high price paid by those who refused to surrender their identity. Today, he remains a powerful reminder that winning a battle does not always mean winning the future, and that some defeats continue to echo long after the last shot is fired.